Here's how I would explain a mortgage to a 5-year-old. Assuming you don't have enough cash to pay for something outright, let's say a home that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, then a mortgage is a way to basically rent that home from a different landlord. So instead of renting to somebody else that owns the home, that's a private landlord, you can actually rent from the bank or the lender. So you get a loan from them, and now you get to buy the house. Yes, the house is in your name, but over time you pay back the lender. Once the lender's paid off, you actually have clear title to the home, you now own it. That is 99% of what Americans do. They don't pay cash. Either they don't have the cash to pay for the entirety of that asset, or two, they don't want to. And I'd love to dive into that one too, because there's a myth out there that, hey, they think they're rich, but they actually have a mortgage on it. They might be making a smart money move. Why would I pay cash for something and take $1 million out of the market that's earning 9, 10, 11% when I can get a mortgage on it at 4 or 5%? Doesn't make sense to pay cash for a lot of things. Now, Dave Ramsey would totally disagree with me. You should own the grass and everything beneath the house, but teach their own. There is definitely mathematical facts as to why you should not pay cash for it, depending on your discipline and your appetite for risk. It's not for everybody. It's just like Dave Ramsey isn't for everybody. So that's mortgage to a 5-year-old. But the problem is I use words like assets and capital and stuff like that. So I tell you what, I have a 5-year-old. I'm going to explain it to him tonight, and then I'll come back and re-explain it just in case I got 5-year-olds subscribing to this channel. Oh, by the way, if you like this channel and you're learning anything through this video or the other videos, if you could do me a favor, please like and subscribe. It helps us grow the channel and get our message out to more people. And it also puts it in front of you, because we do come out with some really cool videos that I want to make sure that you get access to and you don't miss. All right, second question, why are mortgages structured the way they are? Profit. Now, that's an easy one to explain to a 5-year-old. Mortgages are extremely profitable. And the way that they are structured is when you put money in, so let's use a 30-year term as an example. When money goes into the mortgage, it first goes to the interest portion, then principal is calculated. Now, the alternatives that I'll get into here in a little bit are completely opposite of that. So it swings the benefit in the favor of the borrower and not so much the banker. But mortgages are structured for massive profits, and they are. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you bought a $400,000 home. If you got a 30-year term on it, you're gonna pay $800,000 to $1 million by the time that loan is paid off, if you don't refinance or sell and start that process all over again. So for the first 15 years of a mortgage, your payments are predominantly interest and not principal. So in short, you're going to pay for 2 homes. You're going to buy one for the bank first, then you're going to buy yours last. So you're essentially buying 2 homes, but you only get to live in one. So that's why mortgages are structured, because banks get your capital. It's one of the easiest asset classes to extort middle class of their wealth, is via mortgages. And there's other reasons why. It's not just the debt tool itself, but why that debt tool came into existence, to separate you from your cash via deposits. If you didn't have a mortgage, there wouldn't be a need for a checking and savings account. You would actually use different tools, which I'll get into here in a little bit, to store your capital that you wouldn't have a need for a bank. 3, how does interest accumulate over time in a mortgage? Actually, just address that. They're front-loaded with interest. I don't care if it's a 15-year term, a 10-year term, a 20, or a 30, the bank is getting their profits on the front end first. So it's front-loaded with interest. It's called an amortization schedule. So anytime you get a mortgage, check it out. Analyze that amortization schedule. Check out the order of payments. The bank is wanting to ensure that they get their profits on the front end. The reason being is most Americans sell or refinance every 3 to 5 years. They're upgrading, downgrading, refinancing to chase low rates, et cetera. So before you have an opportunity to get rid of the previous lender, they've already gobbled up 80 to 90% of their profits on the front end. So that's why interest on mortgages accumulates the way that it does, because it's an amortization schedule. It's not simple interest in the way that the alternatives are. So that brings me to number 4, which is my favorite topic. Why are alternatives rarely discussed? Because the alternatives doesn't have what a mortgage has, and that's massive amounts of profit. So again, if you purchase a home for 400 grand, but it ends up costing 800,000 conservatively via financing at a 30-year term, easy math there. There's $400,000 of profit per family. And how many families are in America? That's why banks have the tallest buildings in every major city that you go, because they have a system that's been in place for hundreds, if not thousands of years to maximize profits. It's an archaic system. It's very simple. As long as they don't do anything different or entrepreneurial, they're going to make money and they're going to get gobbled up by another bank. It's a pretty easy business plan to follow. So the alternatives save you money and you spend less money to own that home. Hence, they make less profits. And I'll give you clear indication as to why there's less profits. And it's just following the money trail. You know, let's use an alternative. A home equity line of credit is an alternative to a mortgage. Now, some people are like, well, I don't have enough equity in my home to have a home equity line of credit to pay off my mortgage. You're thinking of it as a second lien position home equity line of credit. Banks also have what's called first lien position home equity line of credit. So you can refinance the entire mortgage into a home equity line of credit. And you're not even touching the equity portion yet. It's a simple refinance. It's no different than if you had an FHA loan and you're like, you know what, I'm tired of paying this mortgage insurance and I've got 20% equity in my home, so I'd like to refinance this FHA mortgage into a conventional mortgage so the mortgage insurance will fall off. Did you touch your 20% equity? No, you refinanced. Hence why we called the company Replace Your Mortgage. So first lien position is an alternative as well, which means that as you're paying down that line, you always maintain liquidity by having access to that line and access to your capital. Those products, if a banker were to offer you that product versus a mortgage, they don't get a commission. Bankers in general don't get commissions. They're on a salary plus bonus potentially at the end of the year if they open up a number of checking accounts, savings accounts, CD, money market, home equity lines of credit, or referred enough business over to the mortgage department to do mortgage loans. A loan officer, say a mortgage loan officer does a $400,000 mortgage. They can make anywhere from $4,000 to $8,000 in commission for that one transaction. However, on a home equity line of credit, which is only done directly through banks and credit unions, I have heard of mortgage companies parading as a bank and offering HELOCs, but they don't do it directly. They don't service it. They're brokering it from a bank or a credit union. So the bankers that offer the HELOCs don't get a commission. Why is that? Because there's not profits. Where do profits come from? Profits come from consumers overspending. So you need to ask yourself as the consumer, which product logically do I want to consume? One, it has massive amounts of profits, therefore it pays out massive amounts of commissions to the people offering me that product. Or do I want to consume the product that has lower profits, no commissions, which actually saves me money? And it's not just because of that it saves you money. There's all kinds of reasons why a home equity line of credit would save you money in the way that we teach it. And again, if you want to know in detail what it is that we do and show people who have homes or want to buy a home how to more strategically finance that real estate so that you're not buying two homes, you are going to pay interest. You're going to buy one and let's say a third home. Okay, so that's better than paying for two homes. So there is still some profit in it. There's still some interest in it to the bank, but a lot less than it would be on the mortgage route if it's a right fit for you. And unfortunately in America today, most Americans live paycheck to paycheck. And what we talk about is very niche. It's people who have decent credit, doesn't have to be great. They are somewhat disciplined, meaning they make more money than they spend. And although that may sound like common sense, it's not nearly as common today as it used to be. Most Americans are spending everything that they bring in. In fact, they're spending more, hence why we have credit card debt now well over $1 trillion in this country, because they're buying things that they couldn't afford to begin with. So now they're spending more than they make and financing the rest. So, but if you do meet that criteria where you've got decent credit and you haven't had any foreclosures or bankruptcies, and you've got your budget under control, doesn't necessarily have to be mastered, but you're cash flow positive, meaning you make more money than you spend, then you're probably an ideal client for us, and you could be set up to save hundreds of thousands of dollars by learning our strategies of how to better finance real estate. So again, if you've learned anything in this video, please Please like and subscribe. It helps us get our message out, and helps us help more people. We also have a charity attached to this, so that we're very passionate about. So the more the business does, the more that charity grows, and we can impact specifically anti-sex trafficking around the country and even around the world is our big audacious goal. So yes, please like and subscribe, because it's not just learning more and helping yourself, but there's a ripple effect in society that it actually helps us grow the charity and actually free more people from human trafficking. Y'all take care. God bless.